everyone will talk about learning things from losses. And defensively, we were pretty ordinary last week, and today we were pretty awesome defensively, and that's what's won us the game. So to deal with the pressure against, on paper, or not so much on paper, on recent results, beating Leinster in the RDS and one of the best teams in the competition, we knew it was going to be tough. We knew we'd have to dig in. We knew we wouldn't have it all our own way, of course. But ultimately, we need to perform better defensively than anything else on what we produced last week. And I think we did that tonight.
Attitude or structural for defence, the difference in 7 days?
It's always going to be attitudinal, always. Attitudinal. There's obviously personnel and people in different scenarios and compromise and decision making. All those things are in difference in any defensive and attacking performance. But ultimately, it will be predominantly about attitudinal. The want to work without the ball is often the heartbeat of your team. And that 30-minute period in the first half where they threw absolutely everything at us, and for me, I'm not massively in agreement around the yellow card, but that's by the by. But even with that, we managed to withstand, that amount of pressure and get a foothold in the game, and we built from there.
And scrummaging, sort of as the game went on, all 6 front row forwards really contributed. That was also important, especially towards the end when you get those penalties. Yeah,
Franny was good. Obviously, I know obviously they lost a few key personnel. Front row was good. Gartom I thought was very good. The bench were very good, as you say. But we also drove the ball well. So from a forwards perspective at set piece, we were solid for sure.
It's always hard to pick out individuals, but Morgan Morris and Jack Morgan.
Yeah.
Morgan Morris first try, but also his turnovers, and then Jack Morgan just for his all-round game, I suppose.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. If your tight five can, get on or get part of the arm wrestle and get their fair share, then your back rowers are the next cabs off the rank, and they're the most influential players on the pitch often from a defensive point of view. And if you're called upon, and people. From my learning in this league, for certain, and compared to the Premiership, it's a very hotly contested area, probably more so than the Premiership. Certain teams leave it alone, certain don't. And, we've got 2 boys there that have absolutely aimed up and caused a lot of important moments for us in that game.
Max Nagy looked a nasty one?
Yeah, dislocated elbow, I think.
Is it?
So that I feel for the youngster. Obviously... got brought in, in the warm-up as well. So from that point of view, because Dan Evans tightened up a little bit, so we knew that we didn't have a back 3 guy on the bench, and Matt Provo wasn't quite ready yet. So from that point of view, we were pretty thin on the ground actually when it came to it. But he aimed up really well, was just getting into the game, and hopefully because he's young, he can bounce back from that as quickly as possible. But it's not a good one.
2 games in this competition, new competition next week. The big European Champions Cup, Sale. How are you looking going into that?
Well, obviously that's taken a huge physical effort. We have got an extra day turnaround, which will be important. We'll need that. Sale have had a down week as well, so they'll be obviously fresh as daisies. So obviously I know the Premiership sides pretty well. Obviously I know Alex Anderson from his time at Saracens, so it's going to be pretty much like that. It's going to be a massive physical, collision-based game, and who wins the arm wrestle.
Anybody coming back? Any sort of long-termers?
Beardy should be around, which is great. A few others. So Proth has got a week's training under his belt, which is good. Kieran Williams is around, so he's just started to get closer. Obviously at this time of year, with such going into Champions Cup, going into those big elements of through Christmas derbies, January is often where you set yourself up, for the final push. So it's going to be all hands to the pump for sure.
Gareth Anscombe at fullback today, he had slot in there. He was,
needs must. Gareth's played there obviously, and it's not his obviously an ideal position, but he came back in this week for another week of training. He'll be unlearning his Welsh stuff and learning our stuff again. So but that's a really difficult transition for a lot of players, especially someone that's come back from injury. So look, the more time we have with him, the better he'll get. And I thought when called upon, he did what he needed to do.
Look at the age of that pack who finished, especially the back 5, the forwards. quite exciting?
Yeah, well, everyone knows, you've heard me say it, you're bored of me saying it, that we've got to grow our own. We've got to grow our own and be less reliant on international players. And I've just said to, those young back rows that you talk about, and getting Jack Regan, young second rows as well, Rhys Davies, they're the future, and those boys have to play the lion's share of games. And they'll be, as I said, they're growing as players because of the exposure they're getting.
You mentioned the defensive effort. How pleasing was it that you didn't really offer, a lot of chances to Ulster to get in dangerous positions?
Well, I think that, their dangerous positions came off the penalty count, and they're really difficult if a team that can hold on to the ball for a long period of time. And what I'm probably more proud around is the fact that, they had to go work extremely hard in attack to get those penalties. You're always going to make a reactive tackle every now and then. It wasn't early in the count. The difference from last week is, we either broke or gave away penalties very early in the phase count. Whereas this week, they've had to work for their field position, and we gave penalties away. And defensive are always going to give more penalties away, but ultimately we've made it hard for them.